Alright, I'm back. This is just the Water Temple theme from Ocarina of Time, of course. For 10 hours. I played it during the first BRB earlier in the stream, too. But we should be back. Try refreshing if you're not seeing it. Well, if you're not seeing it, you wouldn't be hearing me either. But hopefully everybody made it back. We're going to be continuing something that we started a couple days ago, which is the Monument Mythos by Mr. Manticore. And it's very spooky, very interesting analog horror project. We started watching it a couple days ago. We watched Season 1 all the way through. We'll at least get through Season 2 today. Season 3 is fewer episodes. I don't know how long all of these videos are going to be, though. So, get ready for spoopies. Spoopies. Yes. Here's the display capture. I took the overlay off that I was using because it was, quite frankly, obstructive to the viewing experience, and that simply will not do. I don't want the Season 2 teaser. No, I don't think we need the teaser. Let's go straight to the first episode. Well, it's only 30 seconds. You know what? I'll just let it play through. We got a teaser. And then we're going into Maze Movie Maker. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. You. Oh man, this is like a Twilight Zone intro. There it is. Oh wait. Before you can finish brushing your teeth, before you can finish showering, before you can finish getting dressed, before you can finish breakfast, before you can finish the morning paper, popcorn will be ready. What? With a startup time just under 60 seconds, Popcorn Prime is the fastest personal computer on Earth. Your popcorn is waiting. That's such a good commercial. Maze Manufacturing Plants, 1960 to 1971. Okay. California, classic. California, classic. Alright, now we're getting into, like, the other states. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Oh boy. That's a lot. Seems ominous.
Known in the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, want to know about the mandatory recall of all personal computers.
Outbreaks reported.
Computers may pose a risk to American lives and infrastructure. Companies may use your computer, and local hazardous tech collection center.
Fourth Amendment rights do not apply.
Will be of most importance to us.
Okay, hang on. I need to look up what the Fourth Amendment is again. Which one's that? Which one's the fourth? The Constitution, through the Fourth Amendment, protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. Okay, so, like, the government can just come and take your shit without asking if you don't cooperate. I see. That is spoopy. In 1960, Maze Machines is founded by Rob Careers and... Wait a minute. Hold on. And Rob Watroba. Okay. In 1969, President Dean establishes the Department of Technology, uniting all major American computer corporations and allocating billions of dollars towards technological advancement.
Now this delegation pays him this ovation rises to its feet.
By 1970, Mays produces the first personal video camera and home computer. Ahoy boy! Is that what that's called? In 1972, Mays collaborates with the Department of Defense to initiate the first system to control the true forces of mass destruction. Oh. Oh, that's the same areas that they built the manufacturing plants, right? Sort of. It's like the same map. 1980, Mays is attacked. By a cactus? In 1990, the last American personal computer is shut down on national television. Oh boy. In 2000, we've learned from our mistakes. Control is confidence, and today there are no doubts. What? Oh, they're introducing another computer? With Mays Movie Maker, now you can take control. Very spoopy. Property of Mays. Exploring under a maze factory. Oh. Actual footage? And it's not Bigfoot footage. Corm. Beware the monuments, they are all connected. The military-industrial complex grows. The cave was very quiet and humid. The air felt charged, too. There were no light fixtures or any pieces of equipment. No animals, not even bugs. That's weird. It felt so empty. What happened here? What indeed? Why is there a fucking, like, cave? Very spooky. The wall shocked them. Oh, there was something happening in there. Let's see if we could discern what that even is. I cannot discern what that is. It looks just like a ball of electricity. Do not visit these sites. They have not been fed in years. I don't know what that means, but yeah, sure. Sure. Spooky. Spooky good. Suez Canal crab. Crab. Oh man, remember the Suez Canal incident? Yeah! The Suez Canal. Yeah! President Clinton? Oh yeah, alternate reality. For the last 2 weeks, the container ship Ever Given has obstructed the Suez Canal. With every passing hour, it is costing the global economy over $400 million. At the request of the Egyptian president, the United States will end the crisis with nuclear force? Both Congress and the United Nations Security Council have approved the use of a small thermonuclear weapon on the Suez Canal, several miles from the Ever Given's location. The blast itself will not reach the ship. However, the waves generated are expected to dislodge the Ever Given from its present position. That is such a bad idea. Let's do it. Evacuations of the cities along the waterway are in progress. Maze News. Oh my god. Yes! That is such a bad idea. I love it. But it worked. Look at that. Nope, it's just stuck the other way now. Oh, never mind, it's fine. It went on land. Twitter machine, aka T-Machine. Oh my god, look at that thing. Oh my god, this would be awesome. This is what Twitter should be. The ship disappeared according to officials. I got up and left. Why is everyone confused? Remember the ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal? It just disappeared. It's got legs. Oh, look at him go. The Americans just released a monster. Nobody asked for a sequel to Attack of the Crab Monsters, 1957. Is that a real movie? The Americans destroyed the Suez Canal and released a demon. Great. So is the ship alive? Is there something underneath it? Suez Canal crab will not be destroyed, says UN Security Council. It's crab time. The crab cannot be eliminated without causing great damage to the Ever Given. In this day and age, the world— you just dropped a nuke on it! In this day and age, the world is unprepared for a loss of cargo of such magnitude. Therefore, the Suez Canal crab will not be destroyed. At this time, no containers will be lifted from the ship since low-flying aircraft cause the organism to ambulate unsteadily. In hopes of returning the Ever Given back to the sea, efforts are underway to carefully manipulate the crab's route through Egypt. Wow, this seems like an even worse idea. Barricade 1. Didn't even slow it down. Barricade 2. Still didn't slow it down. It's going right for Cairo. Dr. Disturbing presents. Oh my god, is this going to be like a YouTuber?
Tell me, what do you think about the tower? It's your first visit here, so what do you think about the tower? I thought it was a really good tower. It was very interesting to go up it. It gave you a really good sense of how busy Cairo is, so I really enjoyed it.
That was terrific. It was really great to get kind of a sense of the scale of the city. It's kind of difficult to do that when you're walking around down on the street. It's a breathtaking view, and it really gives you a terrific perspective of the whole city. And I loved it up there. I spent a couple of hours up on the tower.
I love the crab. I hang out with the crab all the time.
Due to evacuations around the Suez Canal, millions travel to Cairo in search of housing.
Oh my god, this is great.
In response to this migration,
this is so spot on.
Many building capacity limits for popular attractions were inflated. The Cairo Tower, one of the tallest buildings in Egypt, had its own recommended capacity limit increased from 700 persons to 1,000.
3 days prior.
On the evening of April 16th, 2021, upwards of 1,200 visitors toured the Cairo Tower at once. Although concerns of overcrowding had been raised by several staff members, the building manager dismissed their comments.
Yeah.
Since the Suez Canal crab would be passing by later in the
Oh
evening,
my god.
he also encouraged visitors to enter the upper levels of the tower, as that would provide a better vantage point.
Yeah.
At 8
Do
p.m.,
it.
the
Fuck
Suez
it.
Canal crab was observed to have turned toward the Cairo Tower and proceeded to approach.
Oh my god, and
Despite
it's all
an
lit
alert
up.
sent out by the Egyptian government for civilians to immediately vacate structures in the crab's path, most visitors ignored the warning and stayed on the upper levels of the
Of
Cairo
course
Tower
they did.
as it came near. At 8:15 p.m., the Suez Canal crab was seen to have stumbled, and in an attempt to regain its balance, crashed into one side of the Cairo Tower, killing over 200 people.
Oh my god.
The resulting tremors that traversed the building damaged its staircases and elevator systems beyond repair.
Oh my
A
god.
cascade of shipping containers from the Ever Given, knocked forward by the momentum of the initial stumble, lasted for over 2 minutes, as an estimated 800 containers broke from their locks.
Oh my
and pushed
god.
forward an additional 1,000 containers.
Oh my
As
god.
all 1,800 containers tumbled down through the building, the structural integrity of the Cairo Tower rapidly diminished.
I bet it
Falling
did.
debris and containers are reported to have killed over 800 visitors.
Good.
At 8:19 p.m., the Cairo Tower fully collapsed,
Oh my
dragging
god.
the immobilized Suez Canal crab into the ground. In total, only 39 of the 1,189 visitors.
How
to the
did
Cairo
any of
Tower
them survive?
2 of the 15 staff members escaped to safety, including the building manager. None of the 6 security guards survived.
Oh my god.
Although paramedics and police officers had arrived shortly before the Cairo Tower's collapse, the visibly unstable tower prompted them to collect survivors on the ground and retreat to a safe distance. At 8:41 p.m., a hazardous waste collection team and soldiers of the Egyptian ground forces arrived to contain survivors within mobile quarantine chambers. Due to fears of a potential contagion contracted from the Suez Canal crab, all civilians in the vicinity were placed in quarantine under the authority of Egypt's military in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. Upon impact with the ground, the Suez Canal crab and the Ever Given separated. The large wounds caused by the separation discharged thousands of gallons of seawater and bodily fluids. The hazardous waste collection team and soldiers attempted to plug the gushing lesions. However, survivors report that their efforts were mostly futile due to the team's inability to stay standing on the slippery ground.
Oh, it's so slippery.
With the number of accidental falls among the troops on the increasingly wet ground, the Egyptian army diverted its focus from closing wounds on the Suez Canal crab to evacuation efforts. By midnight, the civilian population within a 3-mile radius of the fallen Cairo Tower had been completely evacuated.
Wow.
On the morning of April 17th, Egyptian authorities publicly announced that the Suez Canal crab had fallen in Cairo and laid in a vegetative state. Although the Cairo exclusion zone was primarily intended to prevent any media coverage of the crab and the surrounding destruction, several journalists managed to record footage of the site through the assistance of private helicopter pilots. By 8 a.m., clips of the crab were trending on Twitter. Members of the Anti-Device Association
The
attributed
Anti-Device
severity of the
Association.
disaster to the development of intelligent devices, specifically Twitter machines.
I love this
They
alternate
reasoned
universe
that
Twitter.
Due to the popularity of Twitter in America, the Ever Given was overstocked with T-machines, which weighed the ship down and consequently caused the initial obstruction of the Suez Canal. On Twitter, the ADA released a vicious string of messages criticizing Twitter, Hillary Clinton, and Egypt. Along with images of the Suez Canal crab, photos of scattered goods that had fallen out of the shipping containers became a popular topic of discussion. One image of a sports car resting on top of debris would be retweeted by the ADA with the caption, "The Cairo exclusion zone is a conspiracy to keep goods in Egypt. The American people have been robbed."
Oh my god.
The tweet was shared by over 10 million users. Taking notice, the ADA followed up with tweets suggesting that an Egyptian soldier had driven home the sports car in the image, and that the goods needed to be rescued by their rightful owners. The ADA deemed April 19th as Finders Keepers Day and urged all Americans to travel to Egypt to obtain the goods left by the fallen Suez Canal.
So the
crab.
ADA is still around.
Overnight, an estimated
Still up to no
12,000
good.
flights to Cairo were booked by American citizens. Although a few trespassers had been apprehended in the Cairo exclusion zone, officials did not foresee any further disruptions at the site. Medical personnel attended to survivors in the quarantine chambers. Soldiers cleared rubble and attempted to control the spread of the Suez Canal crab's bodily fluids. By 5 a.m. on April 19th, approximately 20 million gallons had been contained through aerial drops of sawdust and an extensive effort to mop the premises.
Oh my god.
Although several
Mopping?
officials discussed a plan to lay down military-grade mats to enable the hazardous material collection team to walk up to the crab for closer analysis, it was ultimately decided that no further action would be taken until the following evening, as it was believed that the midday sun would evaporate most of the fluid. At 12 p.m., over 12,000 Americans gathered in front of the gated entrance of
Oh
the
my
Cairo
God.
exclusion zone. 4,000 Egyptian police officers and soldiers stood behind the perimeter to guard the exclusion zone from trespassers.
This can't go well.
At 12:03 p.m., violence erupted when an American shot a police officer in the face. Consequently, tear gas was used on the raging mob. Tanks and heat rays arrived shortly afterwards to deter any trespassers. However, by 12:10 p.m., the front entrance gates of the Cairo exclusion zone collapsed from the force of the charging crowd. Informed of the approaching Americans, medical personnel and survivors at the epicenter began to vacate the premises. By 12:43 p.m., the first Americans were seen by officials at the epicenter. Although the wet ground was expected to significantly slow their approach, several citizens had arrived earlier than anticipated since they had utilized car hubcaps to slide quickly across the ground. With no law enforcement at the scene, the American citizens began to collect fallen goods and pry open shipping containers. Popular goods included furniture, firearms, processed food, tea machines, bars of gold, automobiles, and designer clothing. As Americans continued to arrive at the epicenter, more injuries from accidental falls were observed. Concussions and broken arms were the most common injuries during the initial break-in. At 1 p.m., several fights broke out over a Ford pickup truck that had rolled out from a container and crushed a family. 3 aggressors were shot by a man who had found a rifle. The conflict fueled an unpleasant atmosphere, with more instances of gun violence as time went on. One notable incident saw the discovery of a container of firearms by a group of young children. The accidental firing of an automatic weapon by one child prompted the intervention of their parents and other adults. The resulting verbal argument escalated quickly and broke out into a full-scale gunfight with over 14 armed subjects, including the children.
Of course it did.
Another fight erupted after the discovery of a deluxe barbecue grill, which 13 Americans had simultaneously called dibs on.
Oh
when
my
it
god,
was
yes.
pulled out
Get
of a
that
shipping
grill,
container.
son.
All 13 Americans died from gun-related wounds.
Give me that grill.
When the last wave of the 12,000 Americans had entered the epicenter, overcrowding ensured that the accidental fall of one individual would trigger a continuous series of additional falls. Without any open space for the midday sunlight to reach the wet ground, the bodily fluid had no time to evaporate, and the number of falls steadily increased.
Of
At
course.
around 1:30 p.m., one of the posterior legs of the Suez Canal crab twitched and incited panic in a nearby crowd. As Americans attempted to flee, many fell on the slippery ground and were trampled by those rushing behind them. By 1:33 p.m., the screams of the panicked crowd had reached a deafening volume, reportedly being heard over 5 miles away. Due to the reinforcement of the Cairo exclusion zone's gates and orders from the Ministry of Health to prevent any American citizen from leaving the exclusion zone, the massive crowds were kept inside the 3-mile radius of the epicenter, held in place by an orderly line of tanks that flanked the entirety of the zone's perimeter. The gates stood for over 6 hours as Americans ran from the epicenter. Many soldiers became ill at the sight of injuries caused by the thousands of bodies being crushed into the metal bars. By 7:15 p.m., everyone within a half-mile of the gate had perished from extreme pressure. Heat exhaustion, accidental falls, and gun violence were also major causes of death. The Cairo exclusion zone gates were opened at 8 p.m. Soldiers searched for the remaining survivors. Of the over 12,000 Americans who had arrived, only 944
Oh my God.
survived. 77 of the American survivors were found kneeling around the Suez Canal crab and claimed to have been promised from a deity that they would survive if they prayed to the crab. However, none of them could account for the remains of dead worshippers that littered the ground around them. They would later establish the Church of the Ever Given during their stay at a local hospital. Howard Melrose, an American journalist permitted to visit the Cairo exclusion zone the day after the stampede, said of the site, "It looked like something from a medieval painting. All of their bodies were jammed into each other. Everyone became one."
Wow. Cairo Exclusion Zone is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Jesus Christ. I'm liking the Monument Mythos so far. It's weird and cool. Dr. Disturbing was great. Good job, Dr. Disturbing. Dean Disaster. The story of America's worst TV hijacking.
During a broadcast of ABC Evening News, anchor Frank Reynolds told viewers to be prepared for tomorrow and that they would witness the start of a glorious adventure. Word spread quickly throughout the country, and civilians invited friends and family to their homes in anticipation of the next day. Although no details of this glorious adventure were known, it was widely presumed to be another exciting TV announcement from President James Dean. Watching parties were organized in living rooms across America, and on the evening of May 13, 1969, after the ABC Evening News ended, televisions were closely watched with millions of unblinking eyes. No one wanted to miss what President Dean had to say.
President Dean?
James Dean's America is hell. But you still don't believe us. You'll hear the truth from James Dean himself.
Oh my God, is it the Anti-Dean Association again? There he is.
Immediately following the broadcast, air raid sirens activated across all 50 states.
Uh-oh.
The sirens blared at a far greater volume than usual and burst the eardrums of every civilian within a 4-mile radius. The resulting panic triggered severe overcrowding at bomb shelters and deadly stampedes in the streets. Thousands were trampled and hospitals were overwhelmed within the hour.
Oh my God.
Fires broke out in all major cities, and cars left running in the streets produced lethal amounts of carbon monoxide, which flowed into poorly ventilated bomb shelters and suburban homes. In Washington, D.C., the White House was placed into lockdown immediately after the TV hijacking, and President Dean was rushed to a maximum security underground bunker. Able to hear the anguished screams of civilians in the streets above, Dean refused to stay in the shelter. When carbon monoxide alarms went off in the bunker, he urged his staff to exit the White House with him and shut off the vehicles left on the roadways. With a phone call, Dean mobilized the National Guard to assist with the deactivation of the millions of parked vehicles across America. Several more phone calls to high-ranking military officials and world leaders revealed that no nuclear missiles had in fact been launched. President Dean soon realized that the air raid sirens had been hijacked by a domestic organization and immediately ordered all forces of the military to disable every active siren in the nation.
Damn.
When military technicians arrived at the location of the sirens, they found that the bodies of prior technicians, who had perished from the combination of stress and the sirens' sheer volume, piled so high as to have formed a ramp to the top of the speakers. The overcrowding of streets by civilians and unaccompanied cars frequently blocked the path of emergency vehicles and prolonged the process of disarming the sirens. Against his advisor's wishes, President Dean tasked himself with the deactivation of an air siren near the White House. Although he would accomplish the task fairly quickly, Dean sustained permanent ear damage and was rendered fully deaf. The sheer volume had also caused countless blood vessels in his body to burst and produce several abdominal hernias. His condition was shared among the millions of other Americans who had been near the sirens at the time of their activation. 3 hours would pass before all air raid sirens would be fully disabled.
Jesus.
The next morning, at the advice of federal authorities, civilians slowly made their way from the shelters back to their homes. Although some continued to stay in the shelters for fear of radioactive fallout,
that old lady
most
stayed.
accepted the explanation given by military officials over the radio. There is no nuclear holocaust. A domestic terrorist organization hijacked the sirens of America. The streets were littered with bodies and automobiles. The National Guard handed out blindfolds to the young, sick, and elderly as they exited the shelters to prevent the scenes of bloodshed from causing fainting spells and heart attacks. At the Walt Disney Medical Center, physicians examined President Dean and other members of his staff who helped disarm the sirens. All were diagnosed with severe hearing loss. Against his doctor's advice, Dean insisted on issuing a public statement on the traumatic events that had transpired. Although he initially wanted to appear on live television, a glance at the mirror discouraged him, as he saw the countless bruises and tears present on his skin due to the intensity of the sirens. In coordination with technicians from the Department of Defense, President Dean instead organized a large-scale radio broadcast, utilizing the very air raid sirens they had disabled. Later that night, a bruised Frank Reynolds would announce on ABC Evening News that Dean would speak through the sirens and that captions would be displayed simultaneously on television for viewers who were hard of hearing.
What do you have to say for yourself, Dean? Omega Chad James Dean.
It's Jimmy speaking. I'm sorry, very sorry for what's come to pass. I wish I could bring back your friends, your family. I want to fix everything. This is not the announcement I planned for. But as you know, there are people who have it in for us. The Anti-Dean Association. They hijack our systems. They hurt people. The Anti-Dean Association is an anti-American association. I want you to keep an eye out for them. They will not be hard to find because they are very proud of their silly ideas. Find them and bring them to your local authorities. We'll make things right. We have places for people like them. This is Jimmy, signing off.
That's a bit ominous.
Over the next week, hundreds of thousands of anti-Deaners would be apprehended and sent to correctional facilities around the United States. These facilities, meant for the anti-American, were aptly located near or at national monuments in order to symbolize a return to American virtues. Most would stay for merely a few weeks before being released again. Friends and family of rehabilitated anti-Deaners frequently claimed that they would have improved personalities, no recollection of their past criminal activities, and even slightly altered physical appearances. These methods were so effective in calming the terrorist that many innocent civilians requested themselves to be sent to these facilities in hopes of radically changing their lives.
Everybody
However,
just wants to
federal
go.
Authorities would deny any admission to those who were not affiliated with the ADA. During one address, President Dean acknowledged the high volume of requests from the public.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, I want to go there now. My cousin Blimbo was an anti-Deaner, and now he's just cool. I want to be cool.
Hey, it's Jimmy again. A lot of you want to be sent to the same places we're sending those anti-Deaners to. I get it. Those who come out of these places, they look clean as a whistle. But if we send you to those places too, then those correctional facilities lose their purpose. If we send everyone to prison, then what's a prison anymore? This is Jimmy signing off.
On the
All right.
morning of May 22nd, 9 days after the disaster, President Dean received a state-of-the-art hearing implant from Maze Machines, an up-and-coming tech company. Around noon at the Walt Disney Medical Center, the device was surgically inserted into Dean. The sound quality of the implant and the speedy nature of the surgery inspired Dean to imagine a new government department, which would be able to oversee the mass production and distribution of quality hearing implants to the American public. That evening,
So he's just gonna
President
give them to
Dean
everyone?
requested an emergency session of Congress and proposed the ambitious project.
I can't hear a damn thing. Did you hear me? I can't hear a damn thing. Neither can you, or you, or you, or you. It doesn't matter whether you were near the sirens or not. None of you are listening. We need to bring together those technology companies to build and send hearing devices that the public needs. Hearing devices that you yourself need. And through a collaboration with the Department of Health, we can give back to the people what our failures took away. We can let a mother hear her child laugh again. And let a man hear his dog again.
Yeah.
Give everyone their hearing again. And who's stopping you? Listen to the public. You're all about deadlines too. So here's one. By July 4th, I want every American to hear the fireworks.
Due to a malfunction in his auditory implants, Dean was unable to hear himself and as a result spoke much louder on the Senate floor than on previous occasions. The volume of his speech, which greatly amplified his compassion for the American people, profoundly affected the senators. And in
Omega
the early hours
Chad,
of May
James
23rd,
Dean.
1969, after 10 hours of discussion, the Department of Technology was approved.
It is Pog Nightbot, I know.
The fastest an executive department had ever been established. By May 27th, all persons with hearing loss attributed to the anti-Dean disaster would be eligible for the surgical implantation of a hearing device free of charge. Mass operating rooms would be established throughout the U.S., able to house over 1,000 patients at once. The use of surgical androids was approved on June 6th, which increased the number of surgeries performed per day over
Surgical
250%.
androids.
Once all victims had been treated, those with deafness unrelated to the disaster also became eligible for the surgery. On July 4th, it was announced
Oh my God,
that
Helen
there was
Keller
no
got to hear
incidence
again?
of severe hearing loss in the country.
We got to hear it
The
all.
United States was
Ever.
the first nation in the world to eradicate deafness. The achievement had been expected for some time since its first mention during Dean's congressional address. In preparation, many health organizations, both domestic and international, had prepared to host banquets for Dean and grant awards to him and his staff. However, President Dean spent the entirety of Independence Day racing cars with close friend Richard Nixon at
Of
a
course he
local
did.
speedway.
Of course he did.
Though many would cite the recovery from the anti-Dean disaster as James Dean's finest hour, the president was never willing to accept responsibility.
All we did was fix some ears.
Wow. Damn. Oh, that reminds me, Lev actually got a hold of me on Twitter and said he liked the last stream. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Starry Sphinx and related phenomena. TFMD on Mars? What is that? Is that a sandcrawler? Is that a Jawa sandcrawler? Jawa sandcrawler Star Wars? Is that a Sphinx? That would make sense. Audio number 1, excerpts from an interview recovered from an arson scene, unrestored.
Egypt was entirely against the excavation. They had every right to be upset when we went ahead with it anyway. They said that their system worked for thousands of years and would continue to protect the country. They're right. At the time, the president and our military did not care. They viewed their solution as a problem and desperately needed a better solution. American solution, which in this case was excavation.
Yeah, that sounds right. Sounds about right. Video number 2, TFMD leaves Mars. Oh shit, the Sphinx is just fucking out of there.
Once the pyramids were classified as TFMDs by the U.S., the excavation was inevitable. TFMDs have been acknowledged by UN Security Council as the single most dangerous threat to humanity. Of course, this was before climate change and mankind was classified as TFMDs under the new administration. At the time, it meant that the pyramids required immediate action.
TFMD enters Earth's atmosphere. Alright.
The ancient pharaohs personally appointed workers toward guarding it, with some years of their lives striking the trees. They were equipped with the finest music glass balloons, which had substances to inhibit muscle fatigue and induce insomnia, so they would be able to hit the trees for several nights in a row. The goal was not to cut down any of the trees, of course. That wouldn't be possible until 1945. Rather, the intention was to shift the trees' focus from upward growth to internal repairs. The ancient Egyptians knew that they could not permanently halt the trees' germination, but by prolonging their growth, the Egyptians bought themselves time to build enormous towers that would better contain the trees.
Ah. So like the tree from the Rockefeller incident, TFMD is attacked. I do not know what I'm looking at.
Within the first week of excavation, we had found the pyramids extended much deeper into the sand than we had previously thought. The more we dug, the more bricks we had found had already been laid. At the time, we had convinced ourselves that the pyramids had to be finished structures. It would only be a matter of time before we would reach the bottom. By the third week, we realized that we had been wrong the whole time. The pyramids expanded on exponentially. You can imagine our reluctance to tell the public that the pyramids were not pyramids at all. They were towers, infinite towers, all three of them, Houses contain enormous species of metaphysical flora. Who knew that the pyramids are merely the tips of buildings?
Whoa. Huge if true. TFMD's false children land. False children organize into the Starry Sphinx. The Starry Sphinx distracts observers as the mothership flees. What the fuck? The Great Pyramids rise. The other pyramids awaken. Two of them. Three of them. Four of them. I can count. Oh wow, there's a lot of pyramids. Eh? Diagram number 1, present situation. Sphinx and pyramids. Ah, so there's many, many pyramids. Then. Produced by the Anti-Device Association. Well, is this a reliable source? Is the Anti-Device Association really who we should be getting our information from in this scenario? They used to be the Anti-Dean Association. I mean, he was so cool. Weather permitting, we will carry a feed to the Starry Sphinx in Giza on July 4th. This is Giza Guardian. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. This is great music. Yeah, it's Maze News Network again. Oh, get fucking stick bugged. We're getting stick bugged right now. Whoa. Connection lost. Return to this channel at a later time. It formed a bunch of arches like the trees do. Oh, it's Dr. Disturbing again, yes! Project Giza Guardian.
Throughout the 19th century, English archaeologists in Egypt encountered stories.
They should have got
time and
chills
again
to do
of
this.
Mysterious lightning strikes near the Great Pyramids of Giza. It was reported that the lightning would strike only in the presence of certain rare constellations. However, no one outside of the Bedouin tribes knew of which constellations. The secrecy protected the value of Giza glass, a mineral created by the strange lightning striking the desert sand. The glass also served as a form of black market currency for several tribes. For decades, the Bedouins' knowledge eluded British archaeologists. For as long as the constellations remained unknown, the Giza glass that formed was retrieved by the Bedouins long before anyone else arrived. However, in the late 1870s, British Egyptologist Flinders Petrie discovered the constellation which preceded the electrical phenomenon. In 1880, he arranged an expedition to collect samples of Giza glass for the British Museum. Petrie accurately predicted the appearance of Giza glass, and with the help of British troops, secured the location of the glass for themselves.
Oh my god.
The glass, which formed in long,
Typical.
multi-layered sheets, was fractured in order to be more easily transported. While collecting fragments, Petrie slipped and landed on an upright plane of Giza glass. The force of the fall, combined with the sharpness of the material, decapitated Petrie immediately. While British troops at the scene quickly assumed Petrie had been killed, a closer inspection revealed that he was still alive. Although his head was separated from his body, Petrie remained conscious and could even mouth rudimentary words. Medical personnel were initially relieved Petrie had somehow survived, but they became concerned when his head began to discolor and swell significantly. But the fate of Flinders Petrie is a tale for another day.
That's not the interesting part of the story?
Petrie's lot, as his collection of Giza glass came to be known, arrived in England in 1891. Unfortunately, due to the poor handling of its containers during transit, the glass arrived broken into thin shards and was deemed worthless by museum curators. Yet, as a token of international diplomacy, the British Museum divided Petrie's lot among visiting American ambassadors. Vaguely aware of Giza glass's odd properties, President John D. Rockefeller ordered the immediate confiscation of the material from the American ambassadors.
President Rockefeller?
Although many in his administration were eager to see the glass be used in warfare, President Rockefeller refused to authorize military.
We're in the President
use
Rockefeller
and instead
timeline.
Discussed other possible applications with the head of the Department of the Interior. After numerous conferences, it was settled that segments of Giza glass would be polished into fine blades and given to a select group of Greco-Egyptian swordsmen. These unusually tall swordsmen were assigned to the Grand Canyon and guarded restricted areas from trespassers.
Okay.
Protected under federal law, the Grand Canyon Guardians continued to serve for decades until the last member was discontinued. All trespassers who were maimed by the Guardians were promised a lifetime's worth of a special concoction which controlled unwanted side effects. However, since the medication's efficacy decreased over time, older victims were promised housing within the Grand Canyon to guarantee their safety and privacy from the outside world.
Okay.
But only under the condition that they would lure known dangerous persons wanted by the federal government to the forbidden zones of the national park.
Oh my god, really? The U.S. government claims that Project Giza Guardian was shut down in 1969. However, sightings of swordsmen in the Grand Canyon continue to this day. Wow. Following audio is an excerpt from an interview with Louisa Crawford, wife of the esteemed American sculptor Thomas Crawford. Thomas Crawford is best known for designing the Statue of Freedom atop the U.S. Capitol.
Thomas odiava l'America. È andato a Roma quando era un 21enne e ci è rimasto per il resto della sua vita. Era divertito che il fatto che la proprietà degli schiavi americani lo volesse per creare una statua chiamata Libertà.
Oh, sick, burn.
All'inizio Thomas non voleva aiutarli, ma poi realizzò che la statua poteva diventare un simbolo per altre persone. Dietro alla statua un berretto della libertà, qualcosa che gli schiavi romani liberati indossavano. Penso che se una statua alta 6 metri di una donna liberata si ergesse sulla cupola del Campidoglio, alcuni uomini sarebbero stati meno ignoranti.
Oh, sick, burn again.
Puoi immaginare quanto deluso fosse quando il signor Davis a Washington gli disse di togliere il cappello dalla libertà. Ma Thomas vedette il suo progetto andare a buon fine. Andò persino in Egitto per trovare il materiale per la sua spada. È un vetro molto particolare, vetro di Giza. Una
Oh.
volta, mentre stava affinando il vetro nella sua officina, si tagliò accidentalmente la punta di un dito. Nonostante fossi preoccupata quando me lo disse, lui non riusciva a smettere di ridere. Mi disse che il vetro era così tagliente che la punta del suo dito si affettò senza dolore né sangue. Però
Wow.
poteva comunque sentirla. Quando Thomas si concentrava, poteva addirittura farla contrarre sul tavolo. Lo trovava divertente. Io no. Ricordo che una sera tornò a casa senza una mano. Diceva che poteva comunque muoverla all'officina. Era così giovane quando se ne andò. Aveva solo 43 anni. Mi sarebbe piaciuto passare più tempo assieme. Ci amavamo davvero tanto. Puoi immaginare la mia sorpresa quando guardammo il modello di gesti della bocca. Grazie a Dio che l'ispettore Zaffino era nel torto. Mi fece pensare che c'era un serial killer in città, ma nessuno l'aveva ucciso. Thomas aveva tagliato il suo stesso corpo e si era inserito nella libertà.
Okay, so that's how he did it.
Tutto, ogni parte di lui. Sapevo cosa fosse successo, ma vedere i suoi occhi sulla statua era troppo per me. Lei sembrava viva. Zaffino disse agli americani che Thomas fosse morto. Credo che lui abbia trovato la verità da allora. La polizia di Gibilterra pensava che sarei stata devastata dal sentire che avessero trovato la pelle di Nina nella grotta. Ma ero sollevata. Stavo ancora viva. Thomas deve averla messa nella statua con lui. Dentro la libertà. Thomas e Nina stanno proteggendo l'America. Insieme.
I don't know if I'd be relieved about that. Following the broadcast of the controversial Delaware Double report, the Delaware River Journal was shut down by federal authorities. However, a secondary organization, the New Delaware Journal, continued operations. Oh, okay. So inconspicuous. And they even used like a similar intro.
Freedom has a new home. Following the ADA storming of the Capitol on January 6th, numerous organizations expressed interest in purchasing the Statue of Freedom. The statue, which fell during the riot and caused over 150 casualties, was seen by reactionary politicians as a result of poor craftsmanship, and blamed her original installer, Philip Reed, for her collapse. Reed, an experienced architect and enslaved man at the time of Freedom's assembly, soon become the latest in a series of historical figures demonized by the ADA.
Yep.
Due to growing reluctance to reinstall the
Sounds about right.
Freedom, the Department of the Interior has instead transferred Freedom to an undisclosed location in the Grand Canyon,
Oh.
subject to all other offers to purchase her. When asked why the statue had been sent to the Grand Canyon, President Dean replied, "The rocks won't shoot her down."
That's not why. Shortly after the broadcast of Freedom's new home, New Delaware journalist Howard Melrose leaked classified file STFR 4.3099 to the public. Melrose now lives in exile in Egypt. Taylor P. Manning, Franklin B. Carr, Bonnie Newman, Harry F. Caldwell. Jimmy and Donna Garner. Roy I. Nunez. Jeff M. Foster, Sue McGee, Bridget K. Jennings, Diana L. Massey, all decapitated. Randall Jefferson. This could be you. Maya Arnoldson. That Maya was the name of the person that guy took his daughter to the Grand Canyon on that crazy Grand Canyon adventure to see. The following audio clip, known as The Last Words of Maya Arnoldson, was recovered by park rangers in the Grand Canyon. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh boy. Maya walks on an unmarked trail. Remove the lens cap, you dork! Why are you recording with the lens cap on? Nobody knows how to use a damn camera in this universe. Maya notices something ahead of her.
No, not now. I'm leaving now. I won't bother you.
Maya's body falls into a ravine. Audio cuts out. I hate when my body falls into a ravine. In 2004, park rangers discovered Maya Arnoldsson's headless body. As of 2021, her head remains missing. Oh my god, it's all coming together. That's what the canyon crowns are. They're people's heads that have been cut off with the Giza glass because they swell up. I don't know why they would fly and be able to like move around by themselves, but whatever. Very good one. Dr. Disturbing, a treasure as always. Well, shit. Fallen Father, the Monument Mythos, the shocking surprise visit. Are you ready? No, I'll never be ready. For anything. Is that a fish? What is happening? They followed me all the way home. Oh, it's a squirrel. Mr. Squirrel. He's back. Yeah, he is. And he is beautiful. Very beautiful. Very powerful. He just gave you the stink eye. Horny. Yeah, this is the best. I really like these. But forget about that. Since you're gone, you'll never see this video, but I had a dream that you were still here and you were about to leave the house. And right before you left, you said, "I'm going home now." I know your health problems made your body a prison and now you're free. But we miss you so much. I wish I hugged you more often. I love you, Dad. I hope you're happy wherever you are. Jesus, this got heavy. And this music is still bumping. I can't stop thinking about the day you left. It hurts so much to remember. Just go hang out with Mr. Squirrel. He's back. The worst memories live at home with us. What you running from? Mr. Squirrel? There's something going on out there. But I don't know what it is. Is it a floating severed head? Is this another? Is there another one? I can't believe it's been 3 days already. 3 days! Nathaniel Arnoldson, July 1961 to May 2021. Eric Casanas, July 1961 to something. Fallen Father, a film by Alex Casanas, May 2021. 2021. Oh my god. Well, that one got dark. Rockefeller Revelation. My dad unexpectedly passed away 3 months ago. I will try my best to continue his work. A lot of dads passing away. Oh shit, so this is the son of Dr. Disturbing? Child of Dr. Disturbing.
I remember seeing the first German airship in its hangar. I was astounded by its immensity until I saw my own name printed on its side. At that moment, an entirely new feeling unveiled within me. It was an emotion which frequented me in childhood, a blend of revulsion and satisfaction that had followed the execution of a cruel jest on a friend or a stranger. A pin in one's foot, a tumble down a stairwell. What would others think? I thought to myself at the sight of a foreign airship bearing the name of the American president dropping explosives upon cities of unarmed civilians.
I mean, yeah.
I wish to say that revulsion was my sole reaction to this invention, yet I cannot deny that I was proud of this magnificent vehicle. It was perhaps the greatest war machine ever developed by mankind, made possible by yours truly. By nightfall, shame outweighed pride, and I requested the immediate removal of my name from the airship and all its future successors. Although the Germans complied, they continued to refer to their airships as Rockefellers. I knew that removing my name would not obscure the facts for very long. It was inevitable that the American public would one day become aware of my secret dealings in Germany.
Why, though? Why did you do that? Nose, body, and tail. Surveillance car, yeah. Envelope. Gunner gondolas. Control car. Spindle. Interior. Crocodile alligator. What the fuck is going on in here? Why was there a face?
It had always been my intention to reinvigorate the American economy. Once I had been debriefed of the situation in the Grand Canyon, the overpopulation of crowns, I realized that I was also hearing the beginnings of a solution to the impending economic collapse. That solution being slavery.
Oh my god.
I can
Of course.
imagine your reluctance to read on, and I entirely understand. Rest assured, I believe that all citizens should be unconditionally promised the very freedoms that our country established at its founding: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, crowns are not men or women, nor are they animals. They are merely the decayed shells of ignoble criminals. They do not qualify for the same freedoms exercised by ordinary civilians. Once
It's still
they
fucked
were
up, man.
conditioned and bound together, the crowns became the perfect workforce. They did not rebel, for they could not speak. They could not leave, for they were chained. And best of all, crowns were incapable of forming unions.
Oh, best of all. Of course. This music rules too. Lamp. Lamp holder. Front elevation. Turntable and arms. Elevation clamp. Positioning handle. Lamp adjuster assembly. Why are there like bones in the lens?
Germany was the first nation to inquire about the crowns and their potential applications in warfare. I never mentioned the vast quantities of geyser glass we owned, since I knew that it could provide them with many more crowns at low cost. Instead, after signing several agreements and receiving a tremendous German sum, I provided them with over 100 crowns, along with my best advisors and the brightest engineers. Our time with the Germans gave rise to the greatest military vehicles in history, the Rockefellers.
Wow.
Germany's growing demand for men and crowns to construct more Rockefellers revitalized the American economy.
Oh, so it was all worth it then.
Very few nations offered to hire as many of our men and women, and none would have paid as graciously as Germans did. It was, by all accounts, the greatest and most sustainable partnership of recent times. I could not have foreseen the destruction those airships would eventually inflict to the very nation that provided them.
Oh, but
I
yeah.
thought that their creation would unite Germany and America. I could not have predicted that by 1918, Rockefeller bombing raids would have killed thousands of American and European soldiers. My terms were over before I could take action against the Germans. It was the administration after my own which was tasked with the seemingly impossible mission of destroying the Rockefellers while preserving the reputation of the former president. Although they knew of my dealings in Germany and had every opportunity to expose me, they chose not to, for in their eyes no good could come of it. However, I knew it was only a matter of time before I would become the laughingstock of my country. as the war drew to a close,
Probably worse than a
I
laughing
found
stock.
myself in a daze, envisioning my assassination on the streets of New York, or, more likely, on the steps of my very own center. However, it would be years before my visions would acquire any plausibility. President Hughes did a fine job of eliminating every Rockefeller while concealing my involvement.
Wow. Fucked up. Operation Pyramid Plasma. Not to scale. Anti-airship death ray, men, the Great Pyramid. Why are there only 8 men on one side and 9 men on the other side?
It is a miracle that only now the news of my involvement in the Great War has become widely known. Thankfully, information on the crowns has continued to stay hidden from the public spotlight. I would much rather have the public believe that Germans were the only persons inside when the airships were shot down and crashed in flames. With the tragedy at the center, and now the airship scandal, known by many as the Rockefeller Revelation, I believe that my failures have finally caught up to me. There are men outside the center who had once been my supporters. Now they want me executed. The policemen have kept the crowds at bay, though I believe that my assassination is, like the revelation, inevitable.
Fair assumption.
To be elected the president of a country is the greatest honor a people can bestow. But at the moment, I do wish to be the famous oil tycoon that young Virginia Arnoldson believed I was. Forgive me.
Effects of operation. Stage 1 disintegration, the men divide into microscopic parts. Oh! That sounds like fun. Stage 2 ambulation, the semi-conscious and unstable remains of the men traverse the desert in an attempt to better understand their condition. Stage 3, amalgamation. The men fuse together into a more stable being. Stage 4, migration. As one, the men return to their homeland. Okay. For what purpose are we doing this? Stage 5 retaliation. The men execute a counterattack. On May 23, 1937, President Rockefeller entered a bunker underneath 30 Rockefeller Plaza. He was never seen again. Bye. Investigators found that the door to the bunker had been melted open with possibly the most powerful heat ray ever built. To this day, the Rockefeller Foundation considers the president's disappearance as an abduction. Only 2 photos of the potential suspect were ever released. I don't see anyone. Can you see them? No. I don't know what I'm looking at. Maybe this one will be a little clearer. Still don't. Is that Slender Man? Oh, dude, is that Slender Man? Slender Man kidnapped the president? Rockefeller Revelation. Very good job to everyone who worked on that. Much to think about. A lot happened. Washington Wonderland. After an unsuccessful lobotomy, Virginia Fate Arnoldson provided a more complete account of the Rockefeller Tree tragedy. This is her account. Alright, let's learn.
When I was little,
Oh boy.
something went wrong with me, and everything switched. Even my parents. My new ones did not like me, so they left me. My foster parents did not like
Xbox
me.
Live headset microphone.
I was left at an orphanage. Some of my friends were better off, but many were left at the orphanage.
No, it's on purpose, I know.
We loved each other. We stuck together until we were 18. Then we were separated. The military took the boys, and the doctors took the girls. They probably do not remember the tree anymore. Soon, I will not remember either. But I hope you will remember. Remember for me. When the tree changed me, I was not scared. At first, I did not know what was wrong with me. When my eyes adjusted, I was in a field of special trees. I was reminded of a story my mom told me. Alice in Wonderland. This is my Wonderland. I held myself close and looked up. The trees looked like they ended, but above them there were upside down trees, and above those there were upright trees, like they were being reflected forever. The pattern repeated for as far as I could see.
Huh.
I looked down.
Tree dimension.
And I thought I was on solid ground. But when I looked more closely, I was sitting on a thin, floating layer of dust. It smelled like baby powder. And through the dust, I could see the start of another tree. And below that one, there was another and another, an infinity of trees.
Huh.
While I played with the dust, I heard distant footsteps. They grew louder and louder. Then there were bright flashes of light all around me. Out from the sky, hundreds of people ran out. One man came up to me and whispered, "The trees are not the trees." He had such sad, tired eyes. As he picked me up and put me on his shoulders, he said, "You could be her. Anyone could be her. I promise I will not leave you." There was a bright flash, and we were in another field. He was sitting in front of me with his hand out. Another flash, and we were both running past through the woods. Another flash, and we were both lying on the ground, looking at infinity. Every few seconds there was a flash, and we would be doing something else. Again, and again, and again. Over, and over, and over. It would not stop. It felt like forever. Years of flashes.
That's a lot.
I was so angry at first. But soon, I had those sad, tired eyes of his too. We were so sad and tired. Every now and then we would flash to another layer of dust. Above or below, you know. But we would always see the climbers. I think there were people who tried to climb the trees while they were flashed around. They were stretched and burnt. Maybe the dust was the people that fell. The man was always with me. He kept me safe the whole time. It must have been years. It felt like 500 years. I named him Everett. He was always there. He never left me. Everett was my best friend. Then on one random day, no time, one random time, all the trees bent, and a flash brought me back to New York. All my friends were around me, but this was another New York. I did something wrong, and I lost Everett. I ruined everything. I should have stayed home that night. Why did I not stay home? I lost everything.
Because you wanted to put a stupid ornament on this weird tree.
I ruined their lives.
You had to put that ornament on that tree, didn't you?
It was a hard time.
That'll teach you
I will keep memories
to decorate a tree.
to myself. They do not matter to you. When I was 18, I left the orphanage. I looked for my new parents. They were not together anymore. My new pa died from a broken heart, and my new ma lived all by herself. She did not let anyone into her house anymore. All because of me. I wanted my old parents back.
That reminds you of the MNN broadcast?
I went to the
Yeah.
Rockefeller Center for an answer. The tree stood at the top of the plaza. Above everyone.
Arches and then a flash. Yeah.
I was never supposed to visit again, but I did, and I spoke to her. At first, I could not understand her. Her voice was like a breeze behind my eyes. It was cold, and I could not move. But soon, I could understand. She said that I had to be ready to exchange one life for my own. She understood that I wanted to go back home, to my New York. She said, come back in 3 years. And I did. I waited. 1,095 days. I returned 3 years later. At first, I could not understand her. Her voice was like a breeze behind my eyes. It was cold, and I could not move. But eventually, I could understand. She said that I had to be ready to exchange one life for my own. She understood that I wanted to go back home, to my New York. She said, come back in 3 years.
3 more years?
And I did. I waited 1,095 days.
That's a lot of days.
I returned 3 years later. At first, I could not understand her. Her voice was like a breeze behind my eyes. It was cold, and I could not move. But eventually, I could understand.
Are we in a
Except
loop?
that I had to be ready.
Are we caught in a loop
to change
right
one
now?
life for my own. She understood that I wanted to go back home, to my New York. She said, come back in 3 years.
3 more years.
And I did. I waited.
Okay, you're like 27 now.
1,095 days. While I waited, I met a man. He was a very important man. A secret agent. He followed me everywhere. One day, I found him waiting inside my house. He told me that he was here to monitor me. No. To watch and protect me. But he had fallen in love with me.
That's kind of creepy.
No one else liked me. So, we took each other. We grew close. Leonard loved me. I loved him too. Together, we had a baby boy. I named him Everett. Little Everett was inside for 9 months when I saw the tree again. She put directions in my head. I followed those directions. I walked for 4 days. I had to. I wanted to go home so badly.
That's a long walk.
But I became so happy when I could hear the music. It was like the tree's voice, but warm. The Washington Monument looked much bigger in person. Its door went up high, like it was for something much bigger. Then I went inside. There were bodies everywhere. The breeze told me to relax. I went on the elevator. It went up. All the way up. It stopped at the top.
It's gonna drop you.
And the music blared. It was so loud I could not move. The floor opened and I fell all the way down.
Well,
I felt myself hit the ground.
that'll do it.
Then I kept drifting down, past the ground, past rock, sand, and magma, through the layers of earth. It must have been years. It felt like 500 years.
Okay, so that's like 1,000 years
Then I reached the other side,
in this story so far.
and I felt myself rising through all the layers of earth, past the magma, sand, and rock, past the ground, back into a body, another body, almost the same body, and flattened like a little red pancake.
Yeah, I bet.
But I felt so empty. My belly had sunk. Little Everett was not with me anymore. Many others laid around me, broken like me, almost alive and completely sick. But little Everett was nowhere. While everyone else exchanged for their own lives themselves, I must have exchanged little Everett for mine.
Oh, damn.
I cried. I cried for years.
500?
We all bled into the ground for years. Why did the tree keep us alive? Did they like pain? Did they drink our blood? Was there any reason for any of it? I lost little Everett.
Dude, this
He had
Xbox
no
Live
say.
headset microphone.
He did not even say his first word. I ruined his life from the start. Maybe he lives in Wonderland. I hope he lives in Wonderland.
I don't know, that sounds like a pretty shitty place to live.
One day, one random day, the music grew, and there was the brightest flash. We found ourselves outside, at the base of the tower. The tree had been freed, and we were in a field of trees. Wonderland had risen, but little Everett was still missing. We were all
Not little
rushed
Everett.
out in helicopters. I was at the hospital faster than ever before. They told me it was 2003. They told me everything I knew was wrong. They told me everyone I knew was dead. And now they plan to fix me. I'm sorry, Pa. I'm sorry, Ma. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry, Leonard. I'm sorry, Everett. Please remember me. Please, please remember me.
After a second lobotomy, Virginia never spoke again. Damn. Why you do that? Late in her life, she produced a series of paintings titled The Right Life. Ma, Pa, and I. My friends and I. Leonard and I. Everett and I. Together. Virginia passed away in 1980 at the age of 59. But they told her it was 2003. Her son Everett is believed to be the 20th Washington absentee. Alright, that one got heavy. But also, the mythology of this series is so weird and so unique. Air Force One Fallen Angel. Simulation of Strike, property of Maze. August 2003. After making various stops across the United States, Air Force One flew into the restricted airspace of Washington, D.C. After an extensive evaluation, the United States Air Force took action. What's it gonna do? Is this when it was, like, stolen? When it was stolen by an Alamau? Mission accomplished. The United States of America is now 3 states, legally known as the United Zones of America. The Alcatraz Zone, the Rushmore Zone, and the Washington Zone. The 3 zone capitals. Okay. Alwaste. Pahasapa. I don't know. I don't know if I can... Oh yeah, they did take over part of Canada, didn't they? Out of 3, 1. Al Gore's America is a shell for the true ruler beneath our feet. It is time for the underground god to leave. He does not belong here. But the world egg cannot hatch without force. We must fracture the zones ourselves. We must split the earth open. Once it leaves, there will be peace. Is this an egg that you're rotating in front of me? And a state for each and every person. No more zones, for the cracks will be the true borders. 1,000 states of America, or 1,000 states of peace. We are no longer the Anti-Device Association. We are the advocates for the division of America. So there's still the ADA. How will we divide the land? With our fallen angel, of course. Who would have thought he would land on the tomb of the unknown soldier? He's there to get his Tomb of the Unknown Soldier personal checks. We found him before anyone else burnt and broken from the blast. After we fix him, he will be a walking atom bomb. It was the ADA. I can't believe it. He will evict the Horned Serpent, the same way he evicted the traitor, President Rockefeller, from reality. Advocates for the division of America. No snake on that egg. Don't let that snake have that egg. The unification of 1980 was short-lived, as state borders were restored by the end of the decade. However, due to the extent of the unification of 2003, state borders are not expected to be restored within the century. Okay, the ADA refuses to recognize the 3 zones and their capitals. Those bastards. You will recognize the 3 zones, ADA. Oh, it's the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The Fallen Angel on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier 2003, photographed by the ADA, property of Maze. Wait, that's the guy. It's him. It's he's just a floating nervous system. That's the guy that kidnapped President Rockefeller. And also presumably who was on the plane. In that Alamau footage. Okay, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. I can see these plots converging. Liberty Lurkers. Is that an actual burning torch on the Statue of Liberty? That's metal. Statue of Progress is a colossal neoclassical sculpture at the entryway of the Suez Canal in Port Said, Egypt. Progress was designed by Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, who later designed the Statue of Liberty. Okay. I did not know that, if that's real. Did the crab get to it? Did the Suez Canal crab get to it? The following audio is an excerpt from an interview with the developer of the Suez Canal. We developed the Suez Canal to be perfectly crab-shaped. You see.
Since
Many cannot name the region where my accent is derived from. I blame many years of diplomatic service from this. When my accent has suffered at its hands, my understanding of human nature has not. Diplomacy, not psychology, is the true study of the mind. Today, I know that there is only one genuine source of happiness: the Suez Canal crab. It is the source of every category of happiness. It is crab meat. Efficiency. That's what's going to be my second guess. All happiness flows from efficiency. It is the ease of success, not the success itself, which best determines the quality of satisfaction. It was my desire for efficiency which drove me to establish the Suez Canal Company. Like the Colossus of antiquity, I wished to unite the trade of the East with the West. I wished to pull them together in the fraction of time that it had taken for them to engage in the past. There is a dream I would like to share with you all, perhaps a premonition. A deadly premonition? A traveler in the distant future stands at the entrance of the Suez Canal and watches the ships drift past with rapture. The traveler realizes they have achieved true happiness, greater than that of any human being who had stood there before. At their feet, at their place in time, the canal will have spared our civilization a total of 1,000,000 years in sailing time. He's the actual designer of the canal, IRL? Oh. Of course, we will not be there. Oh, wait, the actual inventor of the what? But believe me, it will happen. Ships will be in service for hundreds of years longer, and sailors will spend less time reaching their destinations and more time in their destinations. The Suez Canal is efficient and happiness will flow from it endlessly. Until now, what you have heard was from a speech I wrote for the grand opening of the canal. However, I did not read this speech. I could not bring myself to lie to everyone. I did not choose to build the canal. The man beneath America ordered me to. Any night he can sink into my dreams. Yeah, this speech sucks. Good thing you didn't read that. Oh, the egg. The egg. The sinking man and the forbidden fruit. Animation by the Advocates for the Division of America. Here we go. This is gonna be good. I love it already. Is that the egg tree? Is that the crab meat tree? Oh my god, game over. You died. Upside down is better anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, the ADA has some serious bass on hand. Just ready to go. For years, it was believed that all surviving audio recordings of the infamous 1889 Liberty Lurker interview with Frédéric Auguste Bertoldi were fakes produced by American publicists. These publicists were known as Liberty Liars and would sell their false artifacts to American socialites. However, the authenticity of one audio recording continues to be disputed. It is simply known as l'Authentique Liberty Lurker. There he is, the Eggman himself. To the Providence I confess, it is a heavy burden that I cannot share with the world, but I cannot keep carrying it on my shoulders all alone. The most difficult part, the most painful, the one that made my sleep go away and my hair go gray, was the construction of the pedestal. Although the statue was intended to be a gift, the U.S. ambassador regularly encouraged us to follow President Grant's requests. We made a deal, and each month we received varying design and size requirements for the pedestal. After 4 years, requests to change the size of the structure ceased. People often ask why the pedestal is so disproportionate to the statue. All I can tell them is, ask the Americans. But I know why the pedestal is so massive, so tall. I simply cannot bring myself to tell them the truth. I am not strong enough. The truth being that I designed an abattoir just for him. Grant told me that he used to be normal like us. He called him the Horned Serpent, or whatever that is, the Devourer of Villages. It was the name given to George Washington by the Iroquois. This was no coincidence. Their damned founding father locked up in my foundation. The fucking president's in there? George Washington? Beyonce? What's that? Spider leg. An abattoir is a slaughterhouse. I was gonna look that up and then I completely forgot. That's good to know. It's a feather duster. Following the release of the Liberty Lurker, Thonauts surveyed the environment beneath the Statue of Liberty pedestal. They recorded the following video inside the Horned Serpent metastructure, colloquially known as Wonderland. Oh. Designation derived from the Greek words for underworld and sailor. Fair enough. The following clip may disturb viewers who are sensitive to loud noises. You've been warned. Prolonged exposure to music from the Horned Serpent metastructure may damage your brain. Oh, Jesus Christ. It may disturb redacted. It's loud as fuck in here, mate. Yeah, I can feel the brain damage. It's happening. It's just trees all the way down. Yeah, I think this is where that girl went, where Virginia was. And this is inside the Washington Monument. If you go there right now, this is what's going on in there. I've always wondered. Oh, it's so loud in this. It's so loud in this piece. Liberty Lurkers, very good film. Whew. What a bombshell that one was. Alcatraz Apocalypse. The Tree of Liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. President Thomas Jefferson. Part 1. The final upload of Dr. Disturbing. Oh. I was just starting to really enjoy Dr. Disturbing. And now he's leaving? Great. Dad's favorite things. Paintings. The Apotheosis of Washington by Constantino Brumidi. There he is. Road to Happiness by James Dean. Is that a real painting that James Dean actually did? Together by Virginia Arnoldson. I hope I see you soon, Dad. We'll just go to the Grand Canyon or the Washington Monument. He's probably in one of those places. 3 days after the final upload, the remains of Lauren and Quinn Arnoldson were discovered in the Grand Canyon. Yep. 2 siblings were last seen riding on astonishingly large balloons. According to park officials, the balloons encountered an unexpected crosswind which caused both siblings to fall to their deaths. Well, that's unfortunate. The last broadcast of the New Delaware Journal. Hi. Hello, by the time you see this, I will be dead. I would like you to know that the Anti-Device Association held me captive for years. They forced me to read their scripts, to hand them legitimacy. You have heard me read about Lincoln Lookers and the Starry Sphinx. Those were their words in my mouth. But they did keep as close an eye on me as they should have. They did not keep as close an eye on me as I should have. Whenever I visited my family, I went to my studio underground. I was able to read my own scripts through the New Delaware Journal. The feds and the association thought Arnoldson ran the station, but I had no crew. It was a one-man operation. Only I read. Only I broadcasted. This is the last script. This is the last broadcast. 3 nights before my death, Alcatraz went stealth. It looked like it had completely disappeared while everyone was asleep, but it was still here. It was all around us. It had simply expanded, imperceptibly fast. It mimicked the surrounding environment on a subatomic level. Everyone believed that it had not yet spread to the East Coast yet, but it definitely did. I have just finished the last batch of tests and can confidently say I'm not the same person I was 3 days ago. Alcatraz had copied us all overnight. Every particle of this country and its citizens replaced. The United States is the ship of Theseus. Inside my skull is Alcatraz's fleshy reproduction of my brain. I remember a line from President Dean. If we send everyone to prison, then what's a prison anymore? If everyone became a prison, then what's a person anymore? I will not live with a copy of myself. Better to extinguish myself now than to live a lifetime as something else's handiwork. I heard fire does the trick. Maybe I will see you in the next life. Remember me. For Everett. For Virginia. For America. Leonard W. Moreland. Though not A will receive data, he will convey it to you in a theatrical manner. It will arrive in your world after our apocalypse. 222 an hour. 222. Shit, I muted my mic. I don't know how I did that, but you probably could read the bottom of that. After a brief investigation, authorities concluded that Leonard W. Moreland, experienced a violent psychotic break before committing self-immolation. The Angel's ultimatum. The advocates were deranged. They are all ashes now. We will never be weapons again. Leave us alone or join the ash pile. After a 2-decade search, the Angel was located in Babylon Forest. Operation Thunderbird. Yes. This is great. At the Grand Canyon, 2 androids lure freedom. The captive false children react to her presence. Energy from the false children reacts with an IPC, an invisible particle cloud known as Giza gas. X-Wing Warrior collects the container. The warrior transports freedom to Babylon Forest. The controlled decay of the container allows freedom to exit after touchdown. Freedom encounters the Angel. Question marks? Profit. Mutual assured destruction. Warning, the following may disturb post-implant viewers who are sensitive to loud noises. Oh great. Are we going back to the Wonderland zone? Not quite. Are we looking at Earth, or are we looking at something from Earth? I guess that's Earth. Did the Earth just explode completely because of that conflict between Freedom and the Angel? Okay, it looks like a bunch of trees. Like a bunch of those trees. So the tree dimension is just exploding forever outward now? This is pretty loud in my headphones, I gotta say. It's like blasting me with bass. This effect is pretty cool. It looks practical, almost. If it isn't, I wouldn't be surprised, but like, looks like it could be. Oh my god. Okay, I can hear again. Survivors of the Great Division are known as corner folk. Sure. You know what? Sure. Ooh. Alcatraz Apocalypse, a film by Alex Casanas. This is great. Corner folk. Sure. Why not? Why not? It says that's the end. Is that the last one? Let me look. That is the last one. This is funky. This is super funky. Yeah, 2/22/22 was the date. Alright, so that was season 2 of the Monument Mythos. And season 3 exists, and we will watch it. I'm just getting tired. It's about 5 a.m. right now. There's 8 more Monument Mythos videos. So, you know. And there's also the Nixon verse and the Perfect Universe, so maybe we'll get around to those eventually too, but I want to get through the Monument Mythos and maybe some other analog horror things before we move on to, you know, a new series by the same person. But I'll keep this on my radar and we'll check it out. Also, I just subscribed. I wasn't subscribed to Mr. Manticore, but now I am. So I'll get alerts whenever new Monument Mythos come out. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream tonight, guys. I hope you had a good night. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking it out. This was a long one. I had fun. I had fun fishing. I had fun watching. I hope you guys have a great night. Get some good rest. And tomorrow night should be trash, so it's gonna be even better. But yeah, I do have some stuff actually lined up for trash this time, so we should be good to go on that. And I will see you guys then. Have a great one, and I'll see you real soon.
On my wrist is the Pip-Boy 3000.